Hello lovers of literature. Hope you are doing well. Last week we did Merchant of Venice, Act 2 and the 3 scenes, Scene 2, Scene 3 and Scene 4. So I have already mentioned to you people that Act 2 consists of very short scenes. You might think that these scenes are not that important, but you have to understand that these scenes are quite impactful to understand the later scenes and the later acts. So please pay attention to shorter scenes because they serve to the foreshadowing to the upcoming scenes or acts. So similarly, the scene that we are going to do today, 2 scenes we are going to do, Act 2 Scene 5 and Act 2 Scene 6. So this scene, Act 2, Scene 5, it is a scene replete with dramatic irony. What is dramatic irony? So we see Shylock trying to tell Jessica how to take care of his house. And in the meantime, Jessica is a person who plans to elope with his beloved. Right? So isn't it an ironical situation? Of course it is, because Shylock entrusts the care and the safety of his house to his daughter, who becomes the real plotter against her own father by taking away the silver and the gold, just to elope with her beloved Lorenzo. So, of course, the scene is replete with dramatic irony. First point, which is very important. Shylock was invited for Bassanio's dinner party, to which he has accepted an invitation. And Shylock encounters Lancelot, who has come to deliver Lorenzo's reply to Jessica. Of course, that Shylock doesn't know. Shylock chides his former servant because now it is that Lancelot has joined his service with Bassanio. Shylock chides his former servant and says that in Lancelot's new capacity as Bassanio's attendant, Lancelot will no longer be able to gormandize or sleep and snore as he was theoretically able to do with Shylock. So Shylock tells that to him, that he will not be able to do certain things like gormandize, sleep and snore, under quotes. These are the words in the text which we are going to come to. All the while that Shylock is expostulating to Lancelot, his speeches are broken with repeated calls for Jessica. So he's talking to his former servant, and in the meantime, he's calling for Jessica. When she finally appears, he gives her the keys to the house and tells her that he is going to attend Bassanio's dinner party. Grumbling, he confesses that he accepted the invitation in hate to feed upon the prodigal Christian. So if the question comes, to be very precise, why did Shylock accept the invitation for Bassanio's dinner party? You have to quote these lines. In hate to feed upon the prodigal Christian. The meaning we are going to come later. So he elaborates further and says that he is right loth to go, under quotes. He has a forbidding that some ill is brewing. So he tells Jessica that I think something ill is coming forth. That is, something bad omen is going to come, which he is correct. Because what is a bad omen? When he comes back, he sees that Jessica has eloped. And not only that, Jessica has eloped with some of the jewels, which is very important. Lancelot urges his former master to go. He too has a premonition. He has a feeling because his nose fell a-bleeding on Black Monday last at 6 o'clock in the morning. So he tells, yes, I think that there is something bad that is going to happen. And already I too had a premonition of that. That Bassanio is preparing an elaborate mask as a part of evening's entertainment. Shylock is horrified at the suggestion that he may have to endure the bawdy, showy heresies of a Christian mask. So Shylock, of course, is skeptical about how Christian masks will be, and he does not want to entertain to be a part of that mask. He insists that if Jessica hears any sound of the mask, she is to stop up his house's ears. That means she has to lock all the doors, and she herself is to keep inside and not gaze on Christian fools with varnished faces, that is, painted masks. So he warns his daughter that you need to be locked inside your room, not trying to come out and look at those Christian fools with their masks. He vows that no sound of shallow foppery will enter his sober house. These are all undercoats. Despite grave misgivings, Shylock finally decides to set out for Bassanio's dinner party, but not before repeating one final command for Jessica to stay inside. And what was the last command? Fast mind, fast finds. A proverb that is never still in thrifty mind. Shylock exits then, not realizing that Lancelot was able to whisper a quick word of advice to Jessica before he left. She is to be on watch for a Christian who will be worth the Jewess's eyes, that is Lorenzo. So Lancelot tells that you need to look out for a Christian, that is your beloved. And believe me, he is worth the eyes of your kindness, of your attention. Alone on the stage, Jessica anticipates her impending elopement and utters a prophetic couplet that closes the scene. So after everyone is gone, Jessica, alone on the stage, soliloquizes, that is she speaks in a soliloquy. What is a soliloquy? When someone speaks to oneself. Okay, that is soliloquy. What is the last couplet? That is the 2 lines. With that the scene ends. Farewell, and if my fortune be not crossed, I have a father, you a daughter lost. So farewell to you. And if my fortune be not crossed, so if my luck does not betray me, then believe me that I have a father, but you will have a daughter whom you will lose soon. So she is hinting at her elopement with her beloved, that is Lorenzo. So let us, after this is what I gave you as a summary. Now the analysis part. I told you the scene is replete with dramatic irony. So the scene elaborates on giving additional dimensions to the character of Shylock, very important. We know of Jessica's intended elopement, and thus we understand Shylock's sense of foreboding when he speaks of some ill a brewing. So we understand, we basically know what that ill is. Indeed, ill is brewing for him, and much for the drama in this scene is derived from the fact that both Jessica and Lancelot are anxious to get Shylock on his way. So both of them want Shylock out of their way so that they can make final arrangements for the elopement. Their suspense at his indecision as to whether to go or to stay is the key to drama here. Very important. Shylock says, I am bid forth, but wherefore should I go? But yet I will go, I am right loth to go. So Shylock as if is puzzled whether to go or not to go, but then finally he chooses to go. Lancelot in his excitement and anxiety almost gives the elopement plans away. He lets slip the phrase, they have conspired together, but he immediately covers his mistake with some confused nonsense. In line number 22, you will see that he completely gives away to the secret and then he covers with the humor. Okay, because of course, Lancelot, we know, is a fool kind of a person. No one takes him for seriously. He predicts that there will be a mask at the party because his nose fell a bleeding on Black Monday. This is not only a comic parallel of Shylock's superstition concerning dreams. So both ways, this is also Shylock's concerning dream, as well as, of course, diverts the old moneylender from the suggestion that his daughter might be planning to elope, being one of the hiding faces in the mask. Now, another part, the central to the scene is Shylock's concern with his possessions. So it talks a lot about how Shylock covets whatever he has earned. For example, his obsession with locking and guarding the house which he entrusts to Jessica. He calls her to him and gives her his keys, then almost takes them back again as if he's so apprehensive about it. "I'm loth to go," he says. The emphasis is on the protection of his wealth. And this emphasis appears again when he says, "Hear you me, Jessica? Lock up my doors." And it occurs again in stop. And it occurs again in stop. "My house is yours. I mean my casements." Even the idea of music entering his house is repellent to Shylock. He warns Jessica that perhaps he will return immediately, thus producing new anxiety in her and in the emotions of the audience. Shylock's last words, "Shut doors after you, fast bind, fast find." So he warns, illustrates his inability to leave his possessions. Yet even so, Shakespeare manages to suggest in his portrayal of Shylock's miserliness a kind of unspoken, grudging affection for his daughter, and in this scene for Lancelot, he calls Jessica affectionately. "Jessica, my girl," and of Lancelot he says, "The patch," that is a kindly nickname for a clown, is kindly enough. Still, though, both phrases are immediately followed by a return to his central fixation, his possessions. So he addresses both of them, both his daughter and the fool, with a lot of empathy and kindness. But later, again, he goes apprehensive about his possessions. So it is very important to understand how Shylock is as a person. How is he? He is a man who cares for his possession more than anything else. So when he loses his daughter, he doesn't cry for his daughter. Rather, he cries for his possessions, which is very important. The great irony of the scene lies in our knowledge that while Shylock is concerned with his valuables, it is his daughter that he is about to lose. And it is to her that he entrusts his possession. This is what the dramatic irony is. If the question is asked, what is the dramatic irony intended in the scene? You have to very well be specific, and you have to tell that the irony lies in the fact that Shylock is, of course, concerned with his valuables, but he is not known to the fact that he will lose his daughter. It is his daughter that he is about to lose, and he entrusts all his possessions to his daughter. So this is the central key of the dramatic irony that underlines the scene. So having said that, let us get into the scene. Act 2, Scene 5. Venice, before Shylock's house. Enter Shylock and Lancelot. Well, thou shalt see, thy eyes shall be thy judge. The difference of old Shylock and Bassanio. So he addresses to his former servant and says, well, you will see with your own eyes the difference of your master Shylock, and of course your new Christian master, that is Bassanio. What, Jessica? Thou shalt not gourmandize? So where are you, Jessica? So he calls for Jessica. You will not gourmandizes, overeat, as thou hast done with me? What, Jessica? So he tells he talks to two people. He's calling Jessica, but actually he is talking to Lancelot. He says that you will notice the difference between your old servant master and your new master. Will you not overeat there as you have done here? And he calls, what, Jessica? And sleep and snore? So will you not sleep and snore there? And rend apparel out and wear out your clothes? Why, Jessica, I say. Now he calls Jessica. So you might be confused as to who is he calling and to whom is he speaking. The lines that thou shalt not gormandize as thou hast done with me, and sleep and snore and rend apparel out is what Shylock speaks to his former servant Lancelot and not to Jessica. Okay? Hope it is clear. Please do not make such mistakes. The premonition I am giving to you people is to just warn you. Please listen to that. I've seen many students making errors in spite of telling them repeatedly what is the most important thing from different scenes. Please pay attention while something is said to you. That is very important in understanding. Then you need not bother yourself with too many doubts and too many confusions later. And for doubts, let me remind you once again, if you have any, please put it down in the comment section. I repeatedly go on telling you, please do it. Now the next, Lancelot, why Jessica? Who beats the call? I do not beat the call. So Lancelot says, can't you hear you, Jessica? So Shylock says, who asked you to call, Jessica? I did not ask you to call. Your worship was wont to tell me. So your worship, when I was your servant, you used to tell me. I could do nothing without bidding. So I could do nothing without being asked to. So I always do things what I am not asked to do. So he's making fun. Lancelot is a very funny character or a fool. Enter Jessica. Call you? What is your will? So did you call me? What is your wish? I am bid for to supper, Jessica. So he tells, I've been invited to supper, Jessica. There are my keys. But wherefore should I go? But why should I go? So he questions himself. I told you, as if he's in a dilemma whether to go or not to go. So he questions, why should I go? I am not bid for love. They flatter me. I am not invited because they love me, just because they flatter me. But yet I will go in hate. So I will go in hate. Very important line. It talks about Shylock's purpose of going to the invitation. Very important. A question can of course be raised from here. Why did Shylock go for an invitation? Of course, the answer will be, I will go in hate to feed upon the prodigal Christians. Prodigal over here means spendthrift or one who spends a lot of money, extravagant. Jessica, my girl. Now, this is the instruction Shylock gives to Jessica. Herein it is important because a question may be raised. What instruction did Shylock give to Jessica? So, Jessica, my girl, look to my house. I am right loth to go. So I am right loth to go. That means I am reluctant to go. I am not willing to go. There is some ill brewing towards my rest. This is irony. So he tells, I think there is some ill omen that is brewing tonight. What is the irony? We know, the readers. Because actually a bad omen is about to fall. But of course, Shylock doesn't know. There is some ill brewing towards my rest, for I did dream of money bags tonight. For I dreamt of money bags last night. So it was a popular superstition that to dream of money was an ill omen. You might think, though he has dreamt of money bags, so what a big deal in it? It's good. So actually it was a sign of bad omen. For I did dream of money bags tonight. I beseech you, sir, go. My young master doth expect your reproach. So I beg you, sir, let's go. My young master expects your reproach. Again, malapropism. Actually, it is approach, and he says reproach. Okay, it is malapropism that I mentioned you in your last video. In my last video, I repeat it once more. What is malapropism? There is an error made in the usage of words, purposely done to bring in the effect of comedy or humor. Malapropism, malapropism. Okay, so do I, and they have conspired together. Now see, I told you in line number 22, he says by mistake, and they have conspired together. Who are they? All the Christians. So he's about to narrate the plan, and then he controls himself. They have conspired together. I will not say you shall see a mask, but if you do, then it was not for nothing that my nose fell a-bleeding on the Black Monday. So I will not say you that you shall see a masquerade, but if you do, it was not for nothing. Now he talks about another bad omen. Okay? What is that? That his nose is bled on the Black Monday. Now see this line, conspired together. Let me give an elaborate description about this. Number 1 point, they have secretly organized a masquerade. Okay, this is an example of dramatic irony. For the audience who know of the conspiracy against Shylock, that is Jessica's elopement, the words of a significance of which Lancelot himself is unconscious. He himself doesn't know. Lancelot almost lets the secret of Jessica's elopement out, then talks nonsense about nosebleed. So he covers up and masks to divert Shylock's attention. Okay. So nose fell a-bleeding. This is actually not a good sign. It means an unexpected nosebleed was considered an omen that either something wonderful or something terrible was about to happen. Okay. So what are these masks? Sorry, I've not read this line. My nose fell a-bleeding on Black Monday. What is Black Monday? That is the Easter Monday, the Monday following the Easter, the festival celebrating the resurrection of Christ, referred to as Black Monday here, as on such a day, King Edward III's army was caught in the black fog and hell on the outskirts of Paris. So this is, of course, a biblical allusion leading to the death of many soldiers because of the bitter cold. This was the mayhem that had occurred. Okay, so that is the significance, Black Monday. You might think that Jesus was resurrected. Of course, it is a good sign. But the black, of course, here is that King Edward III's army was caught in the doomed weather. That's the black fog and hell on the outskirts of the city of Paris, and leading to the death of many soldiers. So that's the significance of Black Monday. So that is why he says, my nose had bled on Black Monday, last at 6 in the morning. Falling out the tear on Ash Wednesday was 4 in the afternoon. What is Ash Wednesday? The first day of Lent, a 40-day period of prayer and penance before Easter. On this day, people smear ashes on their forehead to remind them that a man is made from dust and shall return unto dust. This is again a biblical allusion. It is a 40-day period of prayer and penance before Easter, where people smear their foreheads with ash just to remind them the humble Mother Earth, to remind them that they have come from this Mother Earth and they will return unto this place. Okay, so that's the significance of Ash Wednesday. So Lancelot's speech, of course, is full of inconsistencies. Whatever he says, it's very, very inappropriate. Lancelot says that his nose bled on Easter Monday and then says it bled on Ash Wednesday. It is also not clear whether the nose bled happened that year or the year before or 4 years ago. He also plays on Shylock's superstitious nature by talking of omens and Black Monday. So it's a complete confusion. So you may ask me, ma'am, what is the correct thing? Whether he talks about the Black Monday or Ash Wednesday? My answer to this is that, of course, as Lancelot is a fool, so he tries to confuse whatever mistakenly he had uttered about the conspiracy. So he's trying to cover himself up. Okay? So that is why he just talks in a confusing manner to confuse Shylock. What are their masks? Hear you me? Jessica. Now this is another instruction he gives to Jessica. Lock up my doors, and when you hear the drum and the wild squealing of the wry-necked fife. A fife is a small, high-pitched flute. So whenever you hear that instrument, an example of transferred epithet this is. It is the player who gets a twisted or a wry neck, isn't it? When you play a flute, you get a dry neck because you're giving away your breath. But here, it is said wry-necked fife. So the flute is not dry-necked, but the person who is playing is wry. So it is a transferred epithet. And the epithet wry neck is transferred to the instrument fife. Okay, the flute. Clamber not when you up to the casements then. Do not climb up to your windows when you hear such noise. Nor thrust your head into the public street. Do not even poke your head out to look at the Christian fools with painted face. To gaze on Christian fools with varnished faces. But stop my house's ears. Stop my house's ears, of course, it means the windows. So stop my house's ears, the ears of the house or the windows. I mean my casements. Let not the sound of shallow foppery enter. Let not the sound of low frivolity enter by sober house. That is my serious house. By Jacob's stuff. What is that? Shylock swears by the stuff of Jacob. So again, biblical allusion. In Genesis 30, chapter 32, line number 10 of the Bible, Jacob boasts of having crossed the river Jordan, carrying only his stuff, but returning with many men. So that is why he says, by Jacob's stuff, I swear, by that stuff, which symbolizes his strength. I swear, I have no mind of feasting forth tonight. So I do not intend to feast tonight. I do not have any mind to go there. But I will go. Go you before me, Sirrah. Say I will come. So go ahead of me, Lancelot. Tell them I'll come. I will go before, sir. Mistress, look out at window for all this. Now he gives a secret advice. He says that please look out of the window despite everything that is told to you. For all this, there will come a Christian by. For you, there will come a Christian. This is Lorenzo, will be worth the Jewess's eye. Who is worth the eye of you? That is a Jewess. Refers to the proverb, worth the Jew's eyes, to indicate to someone or something of having great value. Okay? What says that fool of Hagar's offspring? So Shylock says, what is this Hagar saying? Now reference to Genesis chapter 21, where again biblical allusion, where Hagar and her son were expelled into the wilderness by Abraham. Hagar was the maid of Abraham's wife, Sarah, and mother of Abraham's firstborn, Ishmael. The Jews believed themselves to be the descendants of Sarah. The non-Jews are thought to belong to the line of Hagar. That is why he says that he is the fool of Hagar's offspring. So Sarah's offsprings are considered to be the Jews and Hagar's offsprings are considered to be the non-Jews. So that is why he calls him a Hagar's offspring. His words were, "Farewell, mistress, nothing else." The Patch is kind enough. Patch means Lancelot. Okay? Patch is actually a fool or a clown. So that is Lancelot, but a huge feeder. So actually he used to eat a lot. So Shylock is being affectionate towards his servant. Snell, slow in profit. So he was as slow as a snail in his usual duties. And he sleeps by day more than wild cat. So he used to sleep by day just like a nocturnal animal who sleeps during the day. Drones hive not with me, therefore I part with him. More than the wild cat, drones hive not with me. That means male bees that do not work, lazy people. So he used to be like a male bee, not interested to work. So he was like that. So what are the different animals he's called by? He is called by different names. Like, he is called by wild cat. He is called by drones. He is called by Snell, slow. So these are the animals he is referred to or addressed as. Therefore, I part with him. So these are the reasons he gives that why he has part with him, which is important in reference to your objective questions. And part with him to one that I would have him help to vest his borrowed purse, while Jessica go in. His borrowed purse, Shylock refers to Bassanio's loan of 3,000 ducats from Antonio. Lancelot, Shylock is certain, will vest Bassanio's money. Perhaps I will return immediately. Perhaps I will return quite sooner. Do as I bid you. Shut doors after you. Fast bind, fast finds. This is a proverb, meaning if one takes care to lock up what he has, he will find it safe. A proverb never stale in thrifty mind. A proverb which is never out of use in a prudent mind. Farewell, and if my fortune be not crossed, I have a father, you a daughter lost. So everyone exits, and Jessica finally bids goodbye to everyone and talks to herself, which is known as soliloquy. I repeat, soliloquy, soliloquy, where she says, if my fortune be not crossed, if my plans do not go obstructed or opposed, if my plan of eloping is not obstructed, I will lose a father, and of course you will lose a daughter as well. So here comes the end of the scene, Act 2, Scene 5. Now, as I told you, we will be doing 2 scenes because these are short scenes. Let us get into Act 2, Scene 6. A short summary of that before we get into the scene and a short analysis too. Gratiano and Salarino, masked and costumed for Bassanio's party, wait for Lorenzo under the overhanging roof. Okay, that is the penthouse of Shylock's house. Why are they waiting? So that Jessica joins. Shylock's house. Gratiano is puzzled that Lorenzo is late for his rendezvous with Jessica. That is a meeting with Jessica. He knows that lovers usually run before the dog. So he knows that lovers always run before time. That is what is said about lovers. Lorenzo's delay is certainly uncharacteristic of most young lovers. They say that as Lorenzo is late, he talks about how it is not usual of the lovers because lovers should always come before time. Why? Because they are passionate to meet their beloved. Suddenly, Lorenzo rushes on stage, apologizes for his lateness and calls to Jessica. She appears above dressed as a boy and tosses down a casket of money and jewels to Lorenzo. Shyly, she says that she's ashamed to be eloping with her beloved while she is so unbecomingly dressed as a boy. Cupid himself, she tells Lorenzo, would blush. Lorenzo tells her that she must play her part well. Not only must she successfully be convincing as a boy, but she must also be his torchbearer at Bassanio's party, a fact that unnerves her. The idea of holding a candle to her shames, that she will be holding a candle, giving light to her shames, that is, she is dressed as a boy, of course, gives her a lot of blush or makes her ashamed. Lorenzo tells her that she must play her part well. Not only must she successfully be convincing as a boy, but she must also be his torchbearer at Bassanio's party, a fact that unnerves her. The idea of holding a candle to her shames is frightening. She is certain that what Lorenzo is asking of her will lead to discovery, and she feels that she should be obscured. Lorenzo is finally able to reassure her, however, and Jessica turns back to do two last things before as they elope. She wants to make fast the doors, that is, close the doors, as her father instructed her to do, and she wants to get some more ducats, that is, money. Gratiano praises her, and Lorenzo reaffirms that he will love her in his constant soul, that he will never be inconstant to her. For she is, under quotes, wise, fair, and true. Jessica then enters below and lovers, and Salarino exits. Antonio enters and, finding Gratiano, tells him there will be no mask that night. The wind has changed, and Bassanio and his man must sail for Belmont. Gratiano admits that he is relieved there will be no feasting and no mask. He is anxious to be under sail and gone tonight. So there is no real break between the scene and the preceding one. So they are almost in continuation. Act 2, scene 5 and scene 6. As I told you, that is why I am doing both of them together. And the next scene is, of course, a little break from what is happening to these scenario, the entire chain of event, which we will be doing the next day. As Shylock exits and Jessica exits only moments later, Gratiano and Salarino enter, costumed for the mask and carrying torches. Gratiano, as we might expect, does most of the talking as two chaps wait beneath the overhanging roof of Shylock's house. When Lorenzo arrives on stage and Jessica appears above him, a modern audience would almost think of the lovers Romeo and Juliet. We are reminded that way because Romeo used to wait just downstairs of Juliet's veranda of the house or the balcony, and then Juliet used to come and talk to him. So similarly, we get a kind of thread from that drama, of course. Thus, a romantic mood is immediately set, except that this romantic heroine is dressed in this lovely garnish of a boy. This was a popular recurrent Elizabethan stage convention and a very convenient one. Since all the girl roles were played by boys, Shakespeare uses this disguise convention later in the same play with Portia and Nerissa disguised as a lawyer and a clerk. So at that time, of course, the women were not allowed to act on stage. So of course, we know that the woman who is acting as a woman is actually a man. So this was easier in part of Shakespeare because of course he could show the man his real self. So that is why most of his characters are that way, if you ask me. In most of his plays. Of course, here too, Portia was dressed as a man and Nerissa also dressed as a man later in Act 4, Scene 1. At this point, since Jessica is both deserting her father's house and robbing it, it is almost too easy in one sense to disapprove of her. Shylock hasn't really shown us a truly villainous side up till now, but Jessica does show. One doesn't take a pound of flesh born literally yet. So we do not see Shylock's intentions till now. But we do see the intention of the bad intention or villainous intention of his daughter. So we are going to come to the scene. Venice. Before Shylock's house, enter Grishanio and Solarino masked. So they're dressed, covered up. This is the penthouse under which Lorenzo desired us to make stand. So this is the house. What is a penthouse? A house with an overhanging roof, projecting over a roadway or a pavement, just jutted out a little bit, which Lorenzo desired us to make stand. Solarino says his hour is almost past. That means he is already late. The time he gave us is almost past. And it is marvel he outdwells his hour. It is quite surprising that he is running out of time. For lovers ever run before the clock. So lovers are always punctual and they always come before the appointed time. Or 10 times faster Venus's pigeons fly. So Venus's pigeons as the chariot of Venus, that is the Roman goddesses of love, was drawn by doves. So even they come, it's of course a classical allusion. They come before the Venus's pigeons can fly. To see love's bonds new made, than they are owned, to keep obliged faith unforfeited. So they do come faster than the old lovers who have already got married. So he tries to say that the new lovers are always passionate to come faster, even faster than Venus's pigeons fly, than the old lovers who are never in a hurry. Lovers are always in a greater hurry to keep promises made to the newfound lovers than they are to keep unbroken the vows already pledged. Grishanio, that ever holds two riseth from a feast, with that keen appetite that he sits down. He draws a parallel between old lovers and new lovers, which is very important. He tries to tell that whenever you sit down to eat something, don't you have a greater appetite? Of course. But when you get up, then your appetite is satiated, then you are in no hurry to complete the food. So similarly, if we consider the food of love or the lover as your food object, then what happens? Of course, you are in a hurry to meet your lover, your beloved. But then when you have already met your beloved and when you know how things are, then of course you go slow in love. That's what. Where is that horse that doth untread again? He draws another parallel. He says that where is that horse that doth untread again? His tedious measures with the unbaited fire, that indeed pays them first. So when a horse reaches a destination, does it have any hurry to reach the destination when it had just started? Of course not. When a horse starts on a destination, it has the pace or the power to move. But when he already has reached the destination, then he becomes calmer. He has no power to run further. So similarly, if we consider the lover to be a horse and if we consider the destination to be the beloved, then of course a lover like a horse is in a fast pace trying to meet his beloved. But when he has met, will he have the same pace again? Of course not. So true parallelisms have been drawn. One, a man who sits to have his food and after his appetite is satiated. Second, of course, when a horse runs and when it comes back to its destination, it is no hurry. All things that are with more spirit chased than enjoyed. How like a younker or a prodigal the scarfed bark puts from her native bay. So he says all things are pursued with more passion than they are enjoyed when achieved. How like a youngster does the decorated ship set sail from a native harbour, hugged and embraced by the wilful winds. So when a new or younger son or a prodigal son, signifying a spendthrift, referring to the parable of the prodigal son in Luke, chapter 15, line number 11, where younger son finally returns home after squandering his money. So the allusion is drawn there. So he says that young curse or a prodigal son, okay, when he sets on a journey with ship decorated with flags and streamers, sets forth from his native bay, from his home port, he is like that wanton and carried away by that wanton, that is that unfaithful wind. Wind is compared to a wanton woman here. Why? Because wind changes its direction, so does a woman who is not constant in her love, of course, changes. So that is why a wind has been compared to an immortal woman. That is the thing. See how like a younker or a prodigal, how like a spendthrift son, the scarfed bark, that is the ship decorated with flags, hugged and embraced by the wanton wind, hugged and embraced by the wanton wind, that is the unfaithful wind, how like a prodigal doth she return with overwrought ribs. So how she returned back with weather beaten her or storm beaten sides, when storm has beaten her. So when she sets sail, then she is in a dream kind of mode. She doesn't know how the wind can be inconstant to her. But when she has come back, the ship, she knows that her sails have been ragged, lean, rent and beggared by the wanton wind. That is, it has become tattered, it has become skeletal, it has become torn by the wind which has completely shattered it. So if I have to summarize the lines, let me tell you once more. The ship sails from her port, richly decked with flags and streamers, favored by the winds. But like the prodigal son, that is a spendthrift son, returns home impoverished, completely torn, shattered, with a weather-beaten body and torn cells. So when a lover is in pursuance of love, he has a lot of dreams set in his eyes. But when he comes back beaten by that love, the bug of love, then what happens? He understands that he is completely wretched. So that is what he, of course, Grashanio tries to tell us. So there are three parallelisms drawn. First, with a hungry man sitting for the food. Second, of course, with a horse that has already treaded its destination. Third, with a prodigal son returning back after its journey, completely torn and shattered by the unfaithful winds. Okay, hope this is clear. Salarino says, here comes Lorenzo, more of this hereafter. We'll talk of this later. Sweet friends, enter Lorenzo. Sweet friends, you're patient for my long abode. Not I, but my affairs have made you wait. So good friends, thank you for your patience during my long delay. It was not I, but my business which has made me wait, which has made you wait or made me late. When you shall please to play the thieves for your wives, I will watch as long for you then. So when you desire to steal wives for yourselves, so when you wish me to help you people to gain your love, I will be there too. Approach, that is proceed, here dwells my father Jew. Oh, who's within? He calls forth. Enter Jessica above in boy's clothes. Jessica, who are you? Tell me for more certainty, albeit I'll swear that I do know your tongue. So I already swear that I do know your voice. Lorenzo and thy love. Lorenzo, your love. Lorenzo, certain, and my love indeed. For who love I so much? So whom do I love so much? And now who knows but you, Lorenzo, whether I am yours? So who knows apart from you that if I am yours? Because I am dressed in a boy's cloth. Heaven and your innermost thoughts knows that you are mine. Heaven and thy thoughts are the witness that thou art, that you are mine. Here, catch this casket. It is worth the pains. It is worth the trouble of coming and taking me here. I'm glad it's night. You do not look in me. I'm glad that you cannot see me because it is night. So which time of the day it is the night time when the mask is being organized. For I'm much ashamed of my exchange, for I'm embarrassed of my clothes, but love is blind, and lovers cannot see the pretty follies that themselves commit. So love is blind that makes lovers commit so many follies which the lovers cannot see. For if they could, Cupid himself would blush. So if they could, Cupid, the god of love, would even feel embarrassed. So lovers do not realize the stupid little things they do in the name of love. If they knew, then even Cupid, the god of love, would have been embarrassed. To see me thus transformed to a boy. Descend, for you must be my torch bearer. So come down, you need to be my torch bearer. What? Must I hold a candle to my shames? Must I hold a candle to my shameful attire of being a boy? Must I reveal my shameful attire in the light of a torch that is a candle? Why? They in themselves good sooth are two lights. So the clothes in themselves indeed are too obvious. So these clothes themselves are indeed needed. Now this word light has a double meaning or pun, P-U-N. Light means light, of course, the light, that is the torchlight, and obvious. Light also means obvious. And light means frivolous woman. Frivolous means someone who is fickle, not constant. Two lights. They in themselves good sooth are two lights. One is bright and another is that light-hearted woman. Why? It's an office of discovery, love. And should I be obscured? The duty of a torch bearer is to hold up the torch, but this will expose me to others. So are you sweet, even in the lovely garnish of a boy, but come at once. So you look lovely even in this attire of a boy, but come at once. For the close night doth play the runaway. So the night that conceals our secret is slipping away. The night is vanning away. And we are stayed for at Bassanio's feast. We are expected to be there at Bassanio's feast. I will make fast the doors and gild myself. So I will lock the doors and furnish myself with some more money, ducats, and be with you straight. So I will furnish myself with some more ducats, that is gold coins, and be with you right away, immediately. Gratiano says, now by my hood, a Gentile and no Jew. So she is such a gentle woman. She is not even a Jew. By my hood means upon my word. Gratiano's costume for masquerade probably includes a hood. So hood here has double meaning. Hood here also means his word, and hood here also means his garment. Hood is a covering that he has put. In the Elizabethan period, people would swear by various parts of their attire. Suppose if you are wearing a jacket, you say, oh, by my jacket. So, of course, we do not say like this. But here, Gratiano says, by my hood. You have to understand why he promises by his hood, because he is wearing a garment like that. That is why. So, he says, by my hood, I promise that she is a Gentile, a gentle woman, a non-Jew, probably punning on gentle. That is, he's meaning a gentle woman as well. And she is no Jew, for she is wise. See, these are very important. How does Lorenzo describes Jessica? Beshrew me, but I love her heartily. Beshrew me means, of course, curse me. Lorenzo uses a very mild oath to declare the depth of his love for Jessica. He says that beshrew, it's a very, curse me. Such a casual word I use for loving her. For she is wise. If I can judge of her, if I have to judge of her, she is the wisest. And fair she is, beautiful she is. If that mine eyes be true, and true she is, as she hath proved herself. And of course she is true as she has proved herself to be. Therefore, like herself, wise, fair, true, shall she be blessed in my constant soul. So I wish to be as constant to her as she has been. Enter Jessica below. What art thou come, O gentleman, away? Our masking mets by this time for us stay. So, what have you come? Let's go, gentlemen. Our friends at the masquerade are waiting for us. Those who are participating with us in the masquerade is waiting for us. Exit with Jessica and Salarino. Antonio says, who is there? Signia Antonio. Antonio comes and says, I am here. Fife, Gratiano, where are all the rest? Shame, Gratiano. Where is everyone else? It's 9 o'clock. Our friends all stay for you. It's 9 o'clock. All of our friends are waiting for you. No mask tonight. There will be no masquerade tonight. The wind has come about, for the wind has changed direction. Bassanio presently will go abroad. Bassanio is about to board the ship. I have sent 20 out to seek you. I have sent out 20 people to look for you. I am glad on it. I desire one more delight than to be under sail and gone tonight. I am glad of it. I want to more pleasure than to be on a sailing ship and gone tonight. Why? Because he has his beloved out there. That is Nerissa. So no mask come about. There will be no masquerade, for the wind has to turn direction. Of course, the wind is not favorable for sailing. Note that having already served the purpose of Jessica's elopement in disguise, the masquerade has now been conveniently dropped. So it doesn't matter at all whether the masquerade continues or not continues, because Jessica has already eloped with her beloved, that is Lorenzo. So the scene ends here. Act 2, Scene 7 and Scene 8. I'm just flipping through the pages to see how long we have to go through to deal with Act 2. Oh, never mind. We will come back again next week. Till then, you know what you have to do. You have to put in your comments, feedbacks. Most necessarily, if you are present watching the video, please do mention me. It gives a lot of support. It counts on your presence. Alright, so please do the needful. Of course, if you like the video, you have to put the like button out there. Till then, stay safe, stay happy, read literature, love literature, and be in love. Be happy. Stay tuned. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.